And there are another set of structures which help us in this regard, in the prefrontal cortex. To understand what all the prefrontal cortex does would be another lecture. But what I can say here is that this is the bridge that connects. This is the bridge. It connects the rest of the cortex with the limbic areas, also with the brainstem, and down into the body for the entire nervous system. The prefrontal cortex is one of the reasons we're different than the sheep. Those mammals want to be close and want to be cared for, but not in the way we do, not in the way that allows our communication in depth. The little lamb was standing on top of the mom, but it's a little different when a son is holding his mom, which this is my mother, watching the sunrise over the leper colony in Kalaupapa and Molokai, watching the sun come up out of the Pacific. So the limbic structures help us learn the practice of turning toward present moment experience. Our prefrontal cortex helps us deepen this practice of intimacy. 300 years after Dogen, another Zen teacher was asked, what is the mind of enlightenment? And Zen Master Unman said, the mind of enlightenment is an appropriate response. How do we meet life appropriately? This comes about because limbic structures connect us. Prefrontal cortex integrates what we have. In other words, we now have a receiver for the signals, our Wi-Fi. Now we can make sense of it. And it supports the two crucial things for us in human development, which is secure attachment and interpersonal attunement. And attachment and attunement are the two fundamental things that allow us to become healthy and happy human beings. Breaks in secure attachment, difficulties in attunement, cause us distress. This is what it means to grow up, to be with others in a healthy, full way, and to work with what arises in these relationships. That's the hard one, right? That's where the things like couple therapy. And in some ways to come home, to take refuge in who we most truly are. But if to understand that, we have to go through one more brain structure, and that are the parietal lobes. The left parietal lobe helps us know where our body is in space. The right one situates the body in terms of the whole environment. Studies that have been done on Tibetan monks and also some Benedictine nuns who are doing deep meditation, they did some functional MRIs to ask them, do your contemplative practice or your meditation, tell me when you're in that state of oneness, where you're one with the environment, one with God, whatever your particular way of saying it is. And we're going to watch what happens physiologically. What happens is these part of the parietal lobes turn off. So that the people literally don't understand where they are. There's no separation. This is what the parietal lobes do. The parietal lobes help us say, I am separate and independent. This is where I am. I'm here, not there. And our ancestors' survival strategies were dependent on these things. Our nervous system helped us learn to create separations, to form boundaries between ourselves and the rest of the world. And also between one idea and another, one feeling and another. To maintain stability, to keep physical and mental systems in a healthy balance, and to approach opportunities and avoid threats. So, create separation, maintain stability, get what's good, reject what isn't. That's our biology. The Buddha's insight was, in terms of creating separation, guess what? Everything's connected. Maintaining stability, well, everything changes. And grab what you like and push away what you don't. No thing is ever ultimately satisfying. In fact, he said attachment and aversion are some of the problems that cause us pain. So what's reality? Which is it? Is it what the Buddha said, or how our brains are geared just through evolution? Well, we have to understand that we actually work with simulators in our brains. We make up reality. We make up virtual reality with these organs, and then we respond as if the virtual reality were the real thing. And that distance between what's happening and our perception of it is called suffering. That's where suffering arises, because we don't actually see things the way they are. As one Zen teacher called it, things as it is. It's an interesting grammatical error, isn't it? Things as it is. That everything is actually one thing. Things as they are. Things as it is. This is what we began to turn toward in practice. And the Buddha gave us 4 ways of understanding how to come to terms with this sort of misunderstanding. The first one was the nature of suffering. If we're caught in our self-centered dream, then we're going to suffer. The first noble truth was the truth of dukkha, that life as we live it is unsatisfactory. We don't like it. We don't want it to be the way it is. It's usually translated as life is suffering, which is, of course, not true. Life is much more than just suffering. It's more like life is everything that it is. But we don't like it that it's everything that it is. We want it to be our way, hence self-centered. And so we begin to suffer. And the more we hold to those self-centered thoughts, the more we stay in this dream. That's the simulator. We get caught in a loop. If we can become more intimate with each moment of our experience by turning toward it, as life as it is, then we can begin to learn more about reality. And being in each moment and understanding what's really going on helps us become compassionate, which is the capacity to turn towards suffering and not turn away. So this is a chant that we actually do in our meditation center each day. Caught in the self-centered dream, only suffering. Holding to self-centered thoughts, exactly the dream. Each moment, life as it is, the only teacher, and being just this moment is compassion's way. I sometimes say, if you need an idea for a tattoo, that's not a bad one, because you'll at least have some really good teachings that you can carry with you, which are the fundamental teachings of the Buddha.